Souter, and this is Rise and Shine with Celeste. Y'all, okay, I take my transcript every single day. I was just thinking about it when I was saying this. I take my transcript every single day. ChatGPT knows me, like yeah, he knows me. And it is hilarious what the transcript will say my name is. Like yesterday, I saw that at one point it had called me less sour. So, like, not so bitter. So less sour. And then rise and shine is like, I'm like, where are you getting these words? Because rise and shine at one point was like spelled RY uh, ZEN chime. So it was all one word and rise and shine. And I was like, that is crazy. There's no telling what this transcript's going to sound like or look like. I mean, it's hilarious. Anyways, how's everyone? I don't, that's what yeah. That's what we're going to talk about today. I guess, it's funny, but I'm in the midst of a rebranding. It's not, oh my gosh, I had no idea. When January rolled around, I was kind of like, well, all right. Um, I was ready to, restart the Soul Sister Accelerator in my business, and I was finishing my book, and I didn't know exactly what it looked like, but here we are, and all the things, and here we are in February, and it's the middle of February now, and nothing is like I thought it was going to be. Anyone else is your 2025 like feeling like, or not feeling? It's just kind of wow, what is going on? Because that's really kind of where I'm at. It is February 12th, and I want to be done. Like I want to be done with my book by the end of February. And by all standards, like all human standards, it's not looking like it's going to happen because when writing a book like this, it really does take inspiration. And I can sit down and I can write a ton one day and then not touch it for 2 months. And it's kind of what that's been happening, how this book has kind of come about was like spurts of inspiration, introspection, you know, seeing God in a lot of this. I don't even know, like this living life, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm sitting here and it's the middle of February and I have a book to write. My business looks nothing like it was supposed to. I'm doing a complete rebrand. I do have a team now, which is great, but everything feels, I wouldn't say on shaky ground, but it's definitely like shaking up my probably some religion maybe or something like that. Like there's some like something shaking up and I've caught myself kind of thinking like, can we get to a stable place, God, please? Like, can we get to a stable place? Like, and when I think about stability, I think about like it's probably almost a complacency kind of thing. Like, okay, I can finally breathe. See, if we're really truly walking with the Lord, the only time we can truly breathe is when we're walking with the Lord, right? And um, if I get to a place of complacency, I'm not really relying on Him. Oh, He knows me. Oh, He knows me. Anyways, and I am excited for what He's doing. I am excited for what He's doing in my life, but man, y'all, He's, yeah. Anyone else feeling it? I am switching things up. And so I nobody's here, and that's okay. It's kind of weird to be on live by myself right now, but it happens. Um as I was pressing live, I will say I didn't want to. I didn't want to press live today. I'm late. I didn't want to. Um it's wet outside, like slick. I had to tell my kids to like be careful and go with each other, and that caused like issues this morning, and I just didn't want to. I didn't want to go live today. And then somebody reached out to me that I haven't talked to them in probably almost 2 years now, and we've only talked once on the phone, but I remember our conversation so much so that I heard a song the other day and it made me think of her. And it's a song that I've shared with a lot of people, but that song was the sharing it with her was special. Was really, really special. And it was in a time that I was literally walking through that mental breakdown where, my hormones were completely out of balance. And I don't remember much about that time, but I remember her. And I also, good morning, Phyllis. I also remember, um, yeah, I just remember her. I remember our conversation. And I'm not one that actually remembers a lot of things like that. And she reached out to me this morning and she's like, I've been off of, Facebook for a couple of months, but I just wanted to connect with you. I don't know if you even remember me, but I just downloaded Messenger just to reach out to you. And I've been listening to your podcasts since you started again. And I said, okay, I hear you, God. Because I've been feeling like, what is it about the podcast? Like, what is it about these lives? Why continue this? And when I get like that, and especially this morning, I just really didn't. And I got up early. I got up early. Yeah, I just really didn't want to go live. Um, and it's mornings like that he sends someone to encourage me, doesn't even know it. She thinks that doesn't even think that she's remembered, but he uses everyone. And it's not coincidental or funny, but she came to my, mind and my heart a couple of days ago. And so, anyways, like it amazes me how he shows up. And I keep remembering my word for the year, which is peace. And with that, it's tell him everything and then peace. If you actually will look through the Bible, there are tons of what I call equations. Obedience equals blessings. Learning resilience, the outcome of that is joy, right? And now t- talking to him, having a relationship, all those things is peace. But that dopamine of, I hear you, God, yes, hits different as you get more mature in the spirit, as you keep walking this road. The dopamine hits differently because it's just really not there. It's relationship now, right? And it's not that I've lost my first love. It's just that spiritual relationship is growing in maturity. Anyone else feeling that way? Or have felt that way in the past? And I know that there will be another wave of dopamine one of these days. I'm gonna take a little bite of this. There will be a wave of dopamine one of these days again. But when the dopamine isn't hitting like it used to, that's where faith grows. The other day we talked about how faith is active trust. Faith is a verb. It's not this ethereal mindset shift. Faith is walked out. Faith is action. And the the more mature I get in the spirit, the more I understand faith without works is dead. And I've been, why, God, why? And here we are. I'm answering my own question, or he's answering it through my own mouth, my own thoughts right now, because I'm actually talking to him. I'm having a hard time talking to him like I used to. I used to fill up notebooks full of conversation and questions and all those things. And I'm having a hard time opening up with that. But turn on live, Celeste, and start talking, and it will spill out. I mean, why this podcast? Why does this matter? Why me going live? Why does that matter, God? And why do I have to? Anyone else? See, the dopamine hits different because the dopamine, like the pressing the live, the pushing past the fear is no longer there because I've come out of an agreement that I'm fearful of doing this. And so that rush of endorphins, because I've pushed past the fear, isn't there anymore. It's from devotion and faith. Faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. I'm learning faith. I'm learning faith and active trust that even when, even though, even if, my numbers never change when it comes to this podcast, live stream, whatever you want to call it. He's using it. He's using it for me. He's using it for others. But it's not always about me. I want you to hear me when I say, like, maybe your faith without works, right? Or your faith walk has nothing to do with pressing live and putting something on a podcast, or even moving platforms, because he's had me move platforms now. Nope, numbers haven't changed. Maybe in the actual analytics they might have, but not much. Numbers haven't changed. Nothing really looks different, but everything is. I can feel it. I can sense it. And even today, I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go live. I'm on a new platform. I'm not even streaming to YouTube today. It's just us, y'all. Just me and Phyllis right now. But I've also been slacking on actually taking these and doing what he's told me to do with them last year, which was podcasts, because I have a lot to do. I'm busy and I haven't been taking the time to do it, and I need to. And I hear him say that. And he confirmed it and all that with Bailey reaching out to me today. It's amazing what he can do. Anyways, I've been talking. I haven't prayed. Let's get into it. Yeah, 15 minutes. Wow. I really hope that hit somebody today. I really hope somebody needed to hear that, because I've been talking a while. Lord, thank you for this time. Thank you for your confirmation, your word, your presence. And I have to remember, even if nobody shows up, which I'm so thankful that people do every single day. I've had at least one person on, and I appreciate that, Lord. And thank you. But even if, I will walk out my faith. And I know that commitment actually rolls onto you. All I have to do is be obedient in what you tell me to do. And right now you're telling me, tell you everything. And the only way I'm doing that is through my open mouth. So here we are. In Psalms 139, I invite everyone who is listening to pray this over your life. God, I invite your searching gaze into my heart. Examine me through and through. Find out everything that may be hidden within me. Put me to the test and sift through all my anxious care. See if there's any path of pain I'm walking on. Lead me back to your glorious, everlasting ways, the path that brings me back to you. I offer myself as a living sacrifice. Your will, not mine, be done. Your will, not ours, be done. Your will, not mine, be done. Let me be like putty in your hands, where obedience, surrender, and submission are acts of worship and love, and not done out of religious obligation. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. So I am still reading out of Hearing His Voice, I believe is what it's called. The 1 year Hearing His Voice devotional, 365 days of intimate communication with God. We're still on discerning His voice, discerning the voice of God. And I titled this one like the dopamine isn't working. It's not hitting the same. It's just not there. But listen to this. All right. Anna, this is in Luke 2:37 through 38. If you haven't read the first 2 to 3 chapters of Luke ever or in a while, go and do that. I encourage you to do it in the Passion Translation too. It's pretty awesome actually. Let's go over there. We're gonna go over there to Luke 2:37 through 38. Um, let's go over there if I can get there. All right. So 37. Anna was an aged widow who had been married only 7 years before her husband passed away. After he died, she chose to worship God in the temple continually. For the past 84 years, she had been serving God with night and day prayer and fasting. Anna spent a lifetime in the church, prayer and fasting. And we would probably look at an Anna today and be like, you are weird, like crazy. Why didn't you get remarried? Why do you not ever leave? I'm sure they did too then. I'm just saying. We would, yeah. And if, like, let's just say that just perhaps she was about 13, 14 when she got married. That means that she had been worshiping God day and night in prayer and fasting in the temple since she was 21 or so. 21. While Simone was prophesying over Mary and Joseph and the baby, Anna walked up to them and burst forth with a great chorus of praise to God for the child. And from that day forward, she told everyone in Jerusalem who was waiting for the redemption that the anticipated Messiah had come. Like, she knew he was a baby, and she came into agreement with that prophecy. She came into agreement with the word spoke over Jesus, right? So the Greek text literally says that Anna told everyone who was looking for the redemption of Jerusalem. This is a figure of speech for the one who would come and set them free, aka the Messiah. What amazing prophetic words came through Simone and Anna. Anna spent years, decades, hands and knees, worshiping God, praying, like prayers and fasting, and didn't she literally did not live her life what we would consider living a life. uh she chose to just worship God in all of this, and she got to experience the baby being born. But I can guarantee you, well, I don't know if guarantee, but I bet she was not there for the crucifixion. I think she would probably had sacrificed herself before she let them sacrifice him, thrown herself in the way of it, even at 100 and some odd years old. The devotion she had to know that the Messiah had come as an infant. Mm, this hits. This hits today. So Anna was a fixture at the temple, an 84-year-old widow who had spent most of her time there since her husband died in their youth. She worshiped God day and night, praying and fasting in wholehearted devotion. So when Joseph and Mary brought the infant Jesus to the temple for his dedication, Anna knew. Anna knew. She sensed his uniqueness. She perhaps overheard the prophecy of Simone about this child's destiny, and it resonated with her. The worshiper had ears to hear. I used to worship for the dopamine, and that in that dopamine hit worship is when God was like, "Mhm, I really love the aroma of a dumpster fire much more. It's so much more pleasing to my nostrils than incense burning on a self righteous altar." I was worshiping for the dopamine hit. Last year, I held on to fear. So when I pressed live, I got that dopamine hit. And so, and here's the thing too, is like God's like, let me have that. Let me have that. And I'm like, yes, Lord, let you have. I'm gonna let you have that fear. I no, fear has no grip on me, Lord. And then he's like, okay, all right. Fear has no grip on you, Celeste. We're gonna walk that out now. And so that dopamine, that that rush of doing it anyway, full steam ahead, that rush, it hits different now because, well, I'm not getting it. And that's where that faith comes in, right? That active trust. I can just imagine Anna, that that dopamine hit, that, well, coming, I'm sure she came to the temple to begin with as a young widow, heartbroken, and she stayed out of devotion, but that devotion hits different after years and years and years of it. It is devotion. It is not from I'm I'm with Eric, not because of dopamine and those lovey-dovey uh feelings, and that excitement of being in love, that we had at 22. I'm with him because we've built a life together, and there's devotion there, there's commitment there, and I love him. But do I get butterflies in my stomach when I see him every time I see him? No. Last yesterday, I'm like cooking, I'm having a conversation with Emma, and I don't even remember all the things I was doing, but like he just beelined it to me and like held me, and I'm like, get off. Y'all hear me? I'm like, get off. I'm doing stuff. You are interrupting my like my thought pattern, what I'm doing, all the things. You're interrupting my flow here because you're trying to, like, he wasn't trying to do anything. He was just, you know, showing me some affection, and I'm like, dude, anybody else like that? Um, and maybe that's kind of where I'm at with God right now. I'm like, dude, like, are you are you kidding me? Yeah. You mean you still want me to go live even when that dopamine isn't working? You mean we can't switch this up just a little bit? Okay. All right. So get that rush of newness. All right. Okay, I hear you. See, worship draws us close to God and opens our ears to his voice. When we may think of adoration and worship as separate issues from receiving God's guidance, but they go hand in hand. When we spend our time adoring him in gratitude and praise, our hearts synchronize with his. As we cultivate the relationship, we can be, oh my gosh, as we cultivate the relationship, we begin to hear and know things we didn't expect to hear and know. And when our focus is on God, we perceive the things of his spirit. That's just how it works. And I remember when I started recognizing that I actually could hear God. I remember that. And like, I also remember the rush of it. And it was something that, like, I would, I would play with, I guess, and that's okay too. God's playful. That's okay. And it's not, I wouldn't play with it, right? I would play with the realization. It was like a training ground. It was like it was just training ground. And when you learn a new skill that you're interested in, and you're like, and then that like new level is unlocked, you're like, oh wow, I'm gonna play with this. I'm gonna see what can happen. And so I did that. And now here I am, and I know I hear his voice, but it's become almost second nature now. And it's in these times where the dopamine's not working, devotion sets in, that like this is where that faith walk happens. And when when you walk with faith, like these are the fruit, right? And these are not every plant. Let's talk about like the fruit of the spirit. Those seeds, they grow into seedlings, and then they start growing into plants, and then they start producing fruit of their own, and then they get mature, and they grow. And so it's the maturing, it's the growing, and it's the establishing the root system. And that is maturity. And sometimes maturity and establishing that root system and looking for the water and all the things, like, oh, it's not dopamining. Like it's not that new, like that new sapling, that new seedling feeling of bursting forth the ground. And you're like, I am here. And you're like, I'm here. I'm still here. Yeah. I'm here. And then there's roots. And I am here. Okay. Right. And it comes with maturity. So perhaps that's why many who strain to hear God's voice as an end in itself often find nothing but frustration, while those who focus on God and the relationship with Him often hear His voice without even trying. And that's true. I don't even have to strain anymore. Not often. I don't know if I've had to strain in a long time to hear Him. It's the I hear Him, and it's the obedience that you walk out. It's the faith, it's the active trust, it's those things. And as you stretch that muscle, grow that muscle, it just becomes who you are, who you were always meant to be. And those old things have passed away, and behold, you're new, right? And when we can relax and do what we were created to do, we were created to enjoy God and adore Him for all of His goodness. We sense His heartbeat. We tend to prioritize we tend to prioritize hearing His voice, and as a result, we miss out on both the. Sorry, hold on. We tend. Okay, I have to go back. So, he's talking about the ones that strain to hear God as an end. I asked God, like, okay, strain to hear God's voice as an end in itself, as opposed to what? Hearing His voice as the beginning of the faith, of the obedience, of the peace, of the whatever, right? Buddy, like drawing near to Him, not just to hear His voice. It's not just a rush, it's a life. This is how you live life. This is how you do create, like turn into that creation that you were always meant to be, and that was to have a relationship with Him. So when we enjoy God, adore Him for His goodness, start sensing and hearing His voice and being obedient in it, we know His heartbeat. We also know when we get too far away from it or shut it down. So we tend to prioritize hearing His voice, and as a result, we miss out on both the voice and the relationship. But prioritizing the relationship gets us everything that comes along with it, including His voice. Our love and worship are vital in opening our ears and our hearts and our minds and being loved. That's what I'm realizing, like what that messy middle is actually allowing Him to love you even in your mess. You don't have to get good. You don't have to clean up before going to the Father. Run down that road as that prodigal son. Run to the Father. He's running to you. Run. Um, in This devotional, it ends with, Father, I pour out my love for you, not because I want things from you, but because you are my priority. Let me enjoy your goodness and seek your heart above all else. I don't need the dopamine hit. I just need you, Lord. Mm. All right, here we go. Let me remind you who my Jesus is. I don't know how to do this on Substack, so we're just gonna have to. Oh, sorry, y'all. Um, just see my messy room over there, and there's that. Man, he's just so beautiful. He's beautiful, and that joy on his face. See, we can have unrestrained joy and it be part of our life. It doesn't have to just be a rush. It's just who we are. It's joyful. We can have peace because we tell him everything. We can have blessings because we're obedient in what he tells us. But all of that starts with relationship. And I'm learning in this season that just talking, tell him everything. And I guess I'm going to have to do it out loud, is what he's showing me. Tell him everything. And then peace. In Philippians 4, 6, and 7, and then I'll read our Psalms. But in Philippians 4, 6, and 7, this is what it says is at the end of 6, it says, be saturated in prayer throughout each day, offering, talk about Anna. This is the verses he gave me for, these are the verses that he gave me for this year. Don't be pulled in different directions or worried about a thing. Be saturated in prayer throughout each day, offering your faith-filled requests before God with overflowing gratitude. Tell him every detail of your life. Then God's wonderful peace that transcends human understanding will make the answers known to you through Jesus Christ. In Psalms 32, 8 and 9, I hear the Lord saying, I will stay close to you, instructing and guiding you along the pathway for your life. I will advise you along the way and lead you forth with my eyes as your guide. So don't make it difficult. Don't be stubborn when I take you where you've not been before. Don't make me tug you and pull you along. Just come with me. Love y'all. See you tomorrow.